Yes, she's our senior coordinator.
Yeah. चलिए. So we will start sharing. Yeah. Color scheme has changed, hardly makes a difference to anybody. Now we are there. Can you see my screen, ladies and gentlemen? Just do
Yes.
like this. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. You see, ladies and gentlemen, before I start this today's webinar, I must come across a few observations. You see, we are in teaching profession and we must have two things very much important. Number one is we should be very humble while talking to your juniors, seniors, not only juniors, group D staff. जो मैनेजमेंट के साथ तो आप यस सर करेंगे ही करेंगे, प्रिंसिपल के साथ भी करेंगे ही करेंगे, बट व्हाट अबाउट ग्रुप डी स्टाफ और रिक्शा वाला, बैटरी वाला, ऑटो वाला, the person who comes to you to serve milk, everybody is charging you for the services. Number one, you see, whenever I have addressed any of the principal, madam, teachers, or coordinators, ladies or gentlemen, the thing is, every time I start with good morning, ma'am, good afternoon, ma'am, good evening, ma'am. Please, देखिए जब भी आप किसी को पेमेंट करते हैं ऑनलाइन, make it a rule if you of your life. What that rule will be? जब भी आप पेमेंट करते हैं, आप डन के ऊपर प्रेस करिए. The screen will go back. Now जो लास्ट पेमेंट करी है उसको स्क्रीन को शो करेंगे शूट, तो वहां पे एक बड़ी स्क्रीन आएगी. ओवर देयर इट विल बी रिटन शेयर. अब आप शेयर कर दीजिए जिस नंबर को आपने पेमेंट किया है, चाहे वो ग्रोसरी वाला हो, चाहे वो ऑटो वाला हो, एनीबडी. व्हाई आई टेल यू वन थिंग, because I have faced a very large sort of scam in this. Two people in the same name. I have to keep on checking which one to pay, and then share your that payment is not screenshot, receipt. मैंने बता दिया आपको रिसीट करने के लिए. Sometimes they say, where is the link? At least have some minimum courtesy. मत लिखिए सर. हमारा देखिए मैम एक कल्चर है. एवरी टाइम वी आर इन इंडियन कल्चर वी से, मैंने देखा बच्चों को, अपने मम्मी को, पापा को, अरे रोशनी मेरे को दूध दो यार, मेरे को स्कूल के लिए देर हो रही है. व्हाट इज दैट लैंग्वेज? दिस लैंग्वेज दे पिक अप फ्रॉम द यूट्यूब और सोशल मीडिया एंड दे फील वेरी प्राउड दैट कि मैं अपने पापा को नाम से बुलाता हूँ, मम्मी को. दिस इज नॉट आवर कल्चर. And they say, and some of the mothers they feel proud. Karyansh तो मेरे को नाम से बुला लेता है. Not a big deal. But where is our culture? ये दो चीजें मैंने बताई हैं, ध्यान रखिएगा अपनी जिंदगी में. If you want to grow. चलिए आज हम करते हैं ब्लूम्स टैक्सोनॉमी. ये देखिए, this is about Benjamin Bloom. He was born in 1913 and awarded a number of awards throughout. ये Bloom's taxonomy, once he started, then it gave the fuel to other people also. And then what that fuel was, कि there was a scientist, his own student in the name of Anderson. He also reframed this taxonomy, and there is only one basic difference. जो Bloom है, he used nouns and Anderson used verbs. This is the only difference between two. देखिए आगे हम देखते हैं. You see, Bloom's taxonomy is basically an important framework for the teachers to focus on high order thinking. अब देखिए, high order thinking के लिए कोई जरूरी नहीं है कि सबने Bloom पढ़ा हो. There were two monks and they wanted to have a cup of tea. The first one said, okay, I will go and ask the master. He went in, asked his master. You see, this is the technique of questioning. He asked the master, "Ki master, can we have a cup of tea while meditating?" Master said, no way, you cannot. He came with a saddened face. He said, master told me no. Second one told, okay, I will go and I will take permission in affirmation. He went in and he asked, okay, master, can we meditate while we are drinking tea? Oh, yes, why not? You can always. You see, same two actions, meditation and having a cup of tea. But the way you put the question, that makes all difference. And this was basically the root of Benjamin Bloom to think about okay, what exactly should be the difficult level of lowest to the highest order thinking skill. You start from what is your name? What is your father's name? Let me see what is your father's name. Who is your father? Right? And as we go to the highest level, then we ask, write something about, let us say 50 words, 100 words, write something about your father. Just like I ask you, who are you? Not a single buddy so far in my life. I am 62 years with 40 years of experience in education line, nursery, kindergarten to class 12. I have dealt with kindergarten also, nursery also, class 1, 2, 3 also, middle school, board classes. I was PGT chemistry. So difficulty level keeps on increasing. And that is why we say the thinking order keeps on increasing as we go from level 1 to last. And then it provides a hierarchy of level of difficulty. This taxonomy can assist us as a teacher. Number one is designing performance tasks, not only question paper. It can give us an insight as to how to design a project. A group project आपने दे दिया है, how to design it. Crafting questions for conferring with students. As I told you, who is your father? What is your father's name? Then we go on higher level. And then providing feedback for the student. To the students also. If we give this framework to the students beforehand, they will come to know exactly how I am going to be tested. What are the different aspects where I will be tested? And then they prepare accordingly. Now your question paper will be totally based on what you have given to the students. You see, याद करने के लिए मैंने आपको एक बहुत सिंपल सा फॉर्मूला दिया है. On the right hand side bottom box, you might be saying K का से. Remember always K का से. Level 1 is knowledge. I will give you all the examples, then indicators also. कि knowledge type of questions के indicators क्या होते हैं? What are the indicators? Then comprehension. Third one is application, then analysis, then synthesis, and then evaluation. Of course, when it was Anderson's choice, he reversed the last two. First, evaluate what after the analysis, evaluate what are the different components are there in my hand. And then you go for synthesis. Oh, sorry, evaluation. And then after evaluating what are the components are there in my hand, then synthesize something new. Just only this is the difference between Bloom's and Anderson's. अभी आप जब समझेंगे एक एक component, now then you can rearrange them according to your wish, your difficulty level. मुझे समझ में आता है what who is your father. I understand. अब छोटे से बच्चे से Let us say second class, first class में 5 people are standing over there. Party हो रही है, birthday party है, marriage party है, whatsoever it is, a gathering is there. You ask him, where is your father? He will just put his right signal. If you ask, who is your father? My papa is my father. Because पापा का नाम तो पता ही नहीं है. वो कहेंगे, see the street, my papa is my father. Slowly and slowly they learn. And that is why we say most emphasis should be on the child, early childhood. Kindergarten, nursery, first and second, ये 5 classes आपकी as per the national curriculum framework. The first 5 have been kept in one group. Try to put in not information. Oh, sorry, not knowledge, only information. अभी हम देखते हैं कि क्लास 1 में 2 में बच्चा नर्सरी में नहीं गया है, राइट? एंड फर्स्ट सेकंड में आते के साथ ही उसके हाथ में पेंसिल पकड़ा देते हैं, and he will not be able to write properly. His handwriting will be spoiled because we are not training the child over the flexibility of the fingers, palm and wrist. ये वाला पोर्शन हमारा most important, the most important part of our body while doing anything. हालांकि इससे भी ऊपर आता है नंबर 1. कौन है? Number 1, the most important are our legs. Keep walking. Even if you are 70 years, 80 years, keep walking. If your legs are strong, you can go do any wonder in the world. But if you are not able to move your legs, whole body will be stationary. Now the second part is hands. Try to move your hands. जब हम बड़े हो जाते हैं, 70 के आसपास आ जाते हैं, then start sponge ball. Keep so that hands की flexibility रहेगी. 50% of the nerves of our body are in our legs. 50%. And rest 50% are controlled by those. Now, let us discuss them one by one. Bloom's level number 1 is knowledge. अभी मैंने बोला था आपको. It exhibits basically the memory of previously learned material. जो भी है आपका, चाहे वो पोएम है, हम देखते हैं नर्सरी और किंडरगार्टन, मछली जल की रानी है. Johnny, Johnny, yes, Papa. Keep on action. Every poem is an action poem. And that way, what we exactly do are 2 things. Number 1 is knowledge level we are enhancing. We are putting boosters to the knowledge level. And number 2 is whole body is moving. That is why their nervous system, circulatory system, digestive system, every system will be in action, will be very much properly working. Now the keywords for the knowledge level: who, what, why, when, omit, where, which, choose, find. These are all keywords. अब आते हैं इनके ऊपर छोटे छोटे से questions. These are half mark or 1 mark. क्योंकि हमारे टाइम में when I was PGT, even principal also, I was principal for 18 years. और इसी के ऊपर देखते रहते थे, learn करता था, and then used to take workshop for the teachers also as to tell them what exactly is need to be done. Can you select apple out of these fruits? Simple question. So unless and until he has got the information how the apple looks, how the orange looks like, what is what do you call teddy bear, what is a puppy. Now for the level of languages, who were the main characters? मछली जल की रानी है, जीवन उसका पानी है. Whole poem we tell them, and then we ask, बेटा इस poem में main character कौन है? ये पोएम किसके ऊपर है, वही मेन कैरेक्टर होगा। तो कौन था? सबसे पहले बच्चे उछल उछल के बोलेंगे मछली, मैडम मछली, मैडम मछली। पूरा हल्ला मच जाएगा आपकी क्लास में, डोंट वरी अबाउट इट। और मैं तो कहता हूं कि इफ देयर आर एनी प्रिंसिपल सिटिंग ओवर देयर, फॉरगेट अबाउट गोइंग टू द प्री प्राइमरी सेक्शन, फॉरगेट इट। जाइए, एडवाइस दीजिए, हाथों की फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी कैसे बनानी, सेंसरी पाथवे क्या होता है, number of things are there that you can utilize for the development of the kids. So this is about, can you recall who was first Prime Minister of India? Who is Modi? Simple, they say, they will say. अब उनकी इंफॉर्मेशन के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है। सबसे पहले पूछिए उनसे, सन राइजेस इन विच डायरेक्शन? I asked this question when I went to class 5 once, and that was an eye opener. The answer was eye opener. One of the students told, sun rises in the east. Manaka, very good, very good, very good. One child was there, Kapil Chetri, he was from Nepal. He rose his hand and told me, sir, I want to say something. Manaka, yes, yes, Kapil, tell me. Okay, sir, in the science we learned that in our solar system, sun is stationary and all the planets are revolving around it. Then how come sun rises? Sun is stationary. So basically, when sun comes up in the sky, we are moving towards the sun. And we say sun is rising. No, sun is not rising. Sun is there at one place. And that was an eye opener. So what we are teaching in geography, social studies, and science, contrary to each other. So that way we must be careful while we teach. So when we are moving towards the sun, we are moving towards the sun. Sun is not rising. We are rising towards the sun. Next, अब देखिए इसका असेसमेंट कैसे करेंगे। मैं हाथ के हाथ असेसमेंट बता रहा हूं, अदरवाइज रूब्रिक्स के बेस पे the basis of assessment on the base of rubrics that we will do tomorrow. The main character names with the pictures of the character. Match statement. List the main characters of one of the main characters in wanted poster. एक wanted poster आपने बच्चों को दिखाया. Who is the main character in this? Arrange the scrambled story picture or sentences in the sequential order. Give 5 sentences and ask them to put in the sequence. Recall details about setting by creating a picture of where a part of the story took place, and so on and so forth. You can create anything on your own, but you have to keep in your mind, this is to be the lowest level of Bloom's, that is knowledge. Now the next one is comprehension. Comprehension means having the information, but then create something. It is not synthesis. Mind it, this is not synthesis, but this is creating on the basis of your experience. And the keywords are, let us say, for example, classify the following plants, classify the following elements, animals, classify these edibles as fruits, vegetables, or snacks. Then contrast, demonstrate, interpret, compare, explain. A number of keywords are there. Now, the question may be summarize, show, classify, or how would you compare? State or interpret in your own words. Give them something. How would you rephrase the meaning of such and such word? How would you rephrase the meaning of this sentence? Or just rephrase the question. Which statement supports your idea. What is your idea and which statements support it? What can you say about? Can you explain what is happening in this story? Stop midway while you are telling some story. Stop midway while you are reading the chapter from the from the textbook. Stop midway. Shut out. Shut down your books. And okay, Mohit, now stand up. What you can interpret might be happening in future. What might be happening in future? Let them recreate their own story. Assessment इसका कैसे होगा? Very easy. Give them the scene from the story or art or print, and then give them an opportunity to interpret what exactly is happening. What different characters are doing. Explain the selected idea or parts from the story in your own words. What do you expect? Just like I told you, predict what could happen next in the story before reading the entire story or entire chapter. Predict what could happen. Construct a pictorial timeline. Explain how the main character felt at the beginning or the middle or the end of the story. At the beginning, he was cheerful. In the middle part of the story, he was a little bit tensed because he was facing some problem. And in the end, he was joyful because he could find the solution to the problem. Depending upon what child feels. Next one is application. Now, application may keywords apply, build, choose, construct, develop, interview also. Interview is a very technical sort of thing because in the interview, as a teacher, you have to assist them framing the question. Like say, for example, you ask a child or a group of children to go and interview your principal. Now, what type of questions you have to ask him? Sir, how did you come into the education line? It was choice or chance? A number of things can come up. How would you show that you understand what the principal gave you to understand in the interview? How will you explain? How can you show your understanding? Give them some scrambled words, organize them in a story that is the application of your knowledge. And what would happen if this thing is reversed? So this is application of the knowledge they have gathered from different resources. That is application. Next one is assessment. Classify the characters as humans, animals, or things or objects. Transfer the main subject or main character to a new setting. Once upon a time, a king was riding his horse in a jungle. Just change the setting. Once upon a time, the king was riding his horse through a crowded marketplace. Then what could happen? So let them apply their knowledge. He will be riding slowly. He will be giving response to the people who are wishing him. Number of things can happen the king will do. Think of a situation that occurred to a character in the story and write about how he or she would have handled the situation differently. दूसरा है ये है अरे उसी में हाथ लगाओ भाई उसको बाहर ले जाके चलाओ मैं काम कर रहा हूं यहाँ पे लीव इट select a meal that one of the main character would enjoy eating. Paratha. Let me say, the child says paratha. Now plan a menu including paratha in this. Aloo paratha, gobi paratha, mooli paratha, what type of paratha? Now plan the menu according with paratha ke saath. There should be a tea also, a cup of tea. Then there should be sauce, there should be chutney, number of things are there. And then how to serve it. So this is about assessment. Number 4 is analysis. Now you see, analysis and synthesis, these two words are just working opposite to each other. Analyze means breaking down to observe, and synthesis is bringing up everything to construct something. बाहर जाके जला दो, बिना पंखे के जला लो एक बार में. Analyze, categorize, classify, compare, contrast, discover, divide, distinction, distinguish, make a list, theme, conclusion, interference, number of things and words are there. You will all get them. Keywords. उनको पता होगा. और ये ट्रेनिंग अगर आप बच्चों को देंगे about Bloom's taxonomy, that will be very much helpful to them to find out what are the keywords in the question by which we will be able to learn what we have to do. बजरंगी भाईजान आप लोगों ने देखी होगी. Who was the main character? The Salman Khan was. यार दूसरा स्विच बंद कर दो वहां से. उधर से दूसरा. अरे दूसरा नहीं पता चलता तुम्हें? हाँ, लाइट खोलो, लाइट खोल दो, बाकी स्विच ऑन कर दो भाई. Now questions. What are the parts or features of a peacock? What are the parts of a flower? What is the theme of this story? Can you list the parts of a plant? Small classes. Can you identify the different parts of a plant? These are all analysis. That is, they break down all the parts, study them separately, and then they write root, stem, leaf, flower, fruit, and so on and so forth. And as we go in the higher classes, then we go for the analysis of flower. What are the different parts of a flower? Sepals, petals, so on and so forth. Now the assessment of analysis a little bit tricky for you people also, as well as students also to learn. Identify the general characteristics that is stated or implied of the main character. Select parts of the story that were funniest, saddest, happiest, and most unbelievable. Differentiate in this story the facts from opinion. What is the fact that should stand true under all circumstances? In a given story, compare the nature of the king and the queen. King was aggressive, queen was humble, and so on. Exactly you can do. The next is synthesis. Now, in this synthesis, there are the keywords like build, construct, develop, propose, solve, suppose, discuss, modify, elaborate. Elaborate means this synthesize something. Then questions. What changes would you make to solve this particular question? sometimes in the board exams, we find in the mathematics a number of questions, few, one or two, that the teachers say about them that they were wrongly framed. This can happen with anybody. So then what changes should be made? How would you improve? Can you elaborate on the reasons why the Maratha Empire fell? Can you invent a telescope without any metallic tube or lenses? How can you focus a farther thing without any lens, without any telescope, without any binocular? So these are questions, and I tell you one thing, you will be getting this recording tomorrow morning. Slowly and slowly you see. Don't go rush. Only 2 elements at a time. Make your own notes. Try to understand. If you find a little difficulty, the group will be open forever unless I leave it, which I don't do. You can put up your question, what type of question this is, or this is the paragraph. Take a snapshot, give me a WhatsApp message. He said, how would you test whether a particular thing is acidic, basic, or neutral? And so on, you can create new things. The next one is assessment. Now, when you read a story or tell them a story without any textbook, tell them the story and then ask the kids, develop a title. What title should be given? What title can be given to the main character? What type of a leader the main character was? Autocratic? Democratic? What kind? Now I have read out a story. You develop a dialogue or a monologue that will convey or communicate the thoughts of the main character. And imagining that you are the main character. Now what is coming to your mind? Jot them down, write them down. The next one is evaluation. अभी देखिए evaluation इसमें हमारे वाला नहीं है, जिसको हम assessment कहते हैं. It is not that. This evaluation is to, given the thing, you try to choose, conclude, criticize, defend one, oppose one, support one, evaluate, justify. In the higher or middle classes, we generally say, justify the action of Julius Caesar. 1 pound of flesh. Have you studied? If you were the judge, in the end, the judge says, oh, okay, he took the loan from you against 1 pound of flesh. Take 1 pound of flesh, but make sure that there is not a single drop of blood, because he promised only flesh. Which is the story, this one? If anybody can remember, you can just unmute and speak. Pranita is thinking very tough, very hard. नहीं आएगा दिमाग में. If anybody knows, just speak it out. अब इसी story को you are putting across to the kids what decision you should have taken if you were the judge. If you were the judge, instead of giving this particular judgment, what other judgment could you give? Let them think about it. Whole period you spoil about this. Let them think. Discuss among themselves. How would you rate Bajrangi Bhaijaan? Out of 3 pictures being released in the movie hall this Friday, today, which one will you recommend to your parents? Which one would you recommend to your friends? ट्रेलर देखते हैं, थोड़ा सा उसका रिव्यू पढ़ते हैं, and then we find out. Okay? So this is about evaluation and then assessment. अभी आ जाता है, decide which character in the selection he or she would most like to spend a day with. Why? If you were in the Cinderella and Seven Dwarfs, that story, which character would you love to play and why? अभी जजमेंट के बारे में मैंने आपको बताया. Decide if the story really could have happened and justify reason for the decision. Whether this could have happened or not. And if you say no, then you say why it could not happen. And if you say yes, it could happen, then tell me what the reason. Why do you think it could happen? Give them creative thinking. क्या होती है? Critical thinking and creative thinking. Both the things go hand in hand. First you critically think or first you creatively think. So creative thinking first or critical thinking first. Which one should you adopt and why? Ask the children, ask the kids. Let them have the group discussions in the class itself. Or basically in most of the schools we have got the system like this only. What system do we have? Inter-house debates, elocutions. Am I right or not? This is for the purpose of giving them a free hand, a free mind to think about it, put across their ideas. One is against, should, अभी देखिए ना जितनी इमरजेंसी चल रही थी उस समय से एक टॉपिक आया था, हमारे टाइम में भी आया था. 1977 I was in class 10. I don't think so except Nivedita ma'am anybody was on this planet. Should the prime minister have the prerogative to dissolve the parliament? ये टॉपिक लिखिए आप, give it to class 10, 11 and 12 students. Try to find out their views. Number of ideas will be there and astonishing ideas. You will be rather surprised to see, array, our kids can think that much beyond the limits. That is critical thinking. And what would you do if you were the prime minister? Now this is critical thinking. Creative thinking, sorry. Now this is creative thinking. So he creates. What would you take as the priority if you were the prime minister? Only 5 things. The people will say costing, the marketing, the rates of the daily use things. Number 2, job market, I will emphasize. Number 3, international relations, I will think. Because depending upon their own interest, they will come across with these ideas. And if you find somebody out of track means a class 10 student, if he says international relations, keep it in your mind, note down somewhere and discuss with him. What do you know about international relations? How are the relations of India improving with other people across the globe? The next one is effective questioning technique के लिए ask thought provoking. ये मैंने सारा का सारा यहाँ किया है. Build a sufficient time, 10 to 12 seconds to before calling on a student, think about, yes, Mohit, what do you think now? Okay, Roshni, what are your ideas? Give them some time to think. And give them question, pose the question by name. Don't throw an open question to everybody in the class. Redirect the student's question. You can give the tough language to the high order thinking skill students, whereas the same question can be reframed in the easier language for the mods, that is middle order thinking skills. Lots low order thinking skills depending upon analysis. Learning styles के बारे में अगर आपने पढ़ा हो, अगर याद हो, there are 8 learning styles, and if you know the learning style of each student, then certainly you will be able to frame your question according to their capacity. Next, paraphrase the students question, increase their participation from lower level to middle level to higher level, depending upon paraphrasing. It all depends upon how you paraphrase your question. Sometimes you ask the question and immediately the student repeats the question, the same language, same word, same sentence. Why? Because they may not always be available or able to grasp exactly. They repeat it in their mind and try to recollect what exactly is required, then collect their ideas, give them some time, and then put them up. Key questions जो है इसको आपको you have to script out the key questions. Whatever you want to demonstrate, discuss, lecture, workshop, or whatsoever the way you want to put across the assessment, what you have to do is reframe the question. Key points एक पेपर पे लिख लीजिए in the order of thinking skills: low order, middle order, high order, and then extremely creative thinking, critical thinking. Try to think upon those lines. Script out the question. And the last one is invite more than one response to a question. Don't rely or don't give very good answer, sit down and then move on to the next question. No. Different type of learners are there, different type of thinking skills are there in your same classroom. So give everybody an opportunity to think, rephrase, and then give the answer. So more than one response. हिंदी लैंग्वेज का टीचर है कोई यहाँ पर तो अनम्यूट करके जरा मुझे बताएं. मैं फिर आपको एक क्वेश्चन देता हूं and then you let me know about whether you will be able to realize what exactly is being said. हम जनरली एक मुहावरा बोलते हैं, धोबी का कुत्ता घर का ना घाट का. This whole मुहावरा is wrong. The word कुत्ता नहीं है. The word is kutka. You know what is kutka? Kutka is basically a clothesline which a washerman keeps outside his house. Once he brings the dirty linen, he puts over there. When he goes to the river, he takes from there to the river, washes them, presses them, and again keep it there. So धोबी का कुटका, ना घर का, वो घर के अंदर भी नहीं लगा सकते, ना घाट का, वो घाट में मिल जाएगा, वो वहीं लगा रहेगा. There is a cross bamboos like this, and midway between these two, there is a clothesline. That is called kutka. Think about it. मैं तो साइंस का टीचर हूं, and whole life I have spent only on the science. But now, for last 8 to 10 years, I am learning something new. And this is what I learned. Now I will stop over here. I will stop sharing over here, and I will ask you people to just put across any questions which come to your mind. If you come across any question, then let me know about it.
Yes, teachers.
आप तो इतने इंटरनेशनल स्कूल से हैं, कुछ तो बोलिए.
Rabia Khan is also
Merchant
there.
of Venice. आ गया. जवाब आ गया मैडम यहाँ पर। अगर आप
Oh.
अनम्यूट करके उसी समय बोलते तो मैं सब लोगों से बोलता अनम्यूट करके सब ताली बजाओ। या रियली जवाब तो आ गया था मर्चेंट ऑफ वेनिस, मगर
Yes.
बोला नहीं। अरे गलत होगा तो यहाँ से मेरी कौन सी, यहाँ से मैं गोली मारूंगा तो आपको लगेगी। या दिस वाज सयाली खटावकर। I don't know how to pronounce, but the answer was right. Merchant of Venice. शालिनी सराफ जी ने भी लिखा है MOV. That's good. So most of you people are cannot unmute. No problem. Chat box में आप लिखते हैं तो अभी we are talking, so I can just go through your chats and find out. Just if anybody has missed out, mark your presence by writing P in the chat box. मेरे को इसका प्रिंट आउट लेना पड़ेगा।
Okay, they need
Some
to
time.
unmute. No, unmute.
अच्छा, unmute from my side.
No, actually, in that security, this thing, unmute themselves. I have already, they can unmute themselves.
They can unmute, yes. You can unmute yourself और मेरे को बताइए।
Yes, I think all of you now, you can unmute yourselves.
So please unmute. Ananya ji, please unmute yourself and speak out something.
Sir, this is Anusua. Sir, this is Anusua. I want to ask that, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes, carry on.
Yes.
Yeah. Sir, I just want to know the difference between analytical question and logical question.
Madam, the thing is that key analysis means breaking down. Number one. So you break down the question into different parts. And second one you asked is?
The logical.
Logical. You see, logical means there has to be a reasoning behind it, whether this question is accurate or not.
Sir, so
Logical
all,
reasoning.
All type of reasonings, questions are logical questions. Reasoning questions are all logical.
All logical.
Okay, sir. And
Like
analytical, we have to break down the questions in different parts.
Yes. Analysis means they break down the question into different parts, find out what exactly is required, and then they give answer.
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay, sir. So it is a little bit of comprehensive type.
Bhavya ji, comprehension means bringing out different parts and creating sentence. Comprehension किसको कहते हैं हम लोग? यही कहते हैं. Just like in the book selection, what I used to ask my teachers while selecting book, try to find out whether the comprehension of the sentences is correct or not. Grammatical formation is right or not.
Yes,
now, if I ask a question to you people, your name?
Anushwa Chakraborty.
No.
My name is Anushwa Chakraborty.
Listen. My question was incorrect. I'm giving you gestures. Who knows? I was going to speak it out. Your name is Anasuya Chakrabarti.
Okay, sir.
So before my completion, you said, my name is. I just gave you the gesture. Whereas in the question paper, there will be no gestures.
Okay.
Sir, may I add a few lines to this?
Yes, Beriji.
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
Ma'am, comprehension is, they will ask some question from the passage and we answer that. Analysis would be, we identify what kind of passage is it. Then we understand the text, then we see the language, then we see who's the audience, target audience. So when we start analyzing it, breaking it up minutely, as sir suggested, that we break it up and get a complete analysis instead of just showing our understanding or comprehension of the question. In comprehension, questions are being asked and we answer that. Yes, what is the passage? But in analysis, we will identify the text type, the language, the meaning, the audience, context, and explain in detail. That is just my endeavor to
Yes, madam.
To put some more light on this.
Nice. Nice
That's
explanation.
nice
Thank
explanation.
you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
sir.
sir.
Yes, Geetika.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Good.
ma'am.
Yes, anybody else would like to say something? So, ma'am, if there is nobody, then certainly we should not waste our time over here. Leave this meeting now, have a nice dinner, go and watch a very beautiful serial that is Ahilya Bai Holkar. No,
Oh.
madam, really, I tell you one thing. That is a sort of family drama. Every time she is giving a right guidance to his own children, to the public, to the citizens of Marathwada, and everybody. And
Yes.
she is basically showing the woman power in those times.
Women empowerment, sir.
Yeah.
She's a
Yes.
role model, like in Indian history.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, sir.
बहुत हुई है मैम ऐसी,
जी, sir.
लेकिन ये इनके ऊपर सीरियल जो है, it touches my heart.
Yeah. When we can visualize, like we can see something now.
सबसे बड़ी बात है, you can see the way she goes for parenting
Yeah.
her own son. Sally ji, thank you very much. Rabia ji, thank you for your input. Geetika ji, thank you very much. Anayusuya
Thank you,
ji.
sir.
All right,
Thank you so
ladies
much,
and
sir.
gentlemen, have a nice dinner. And we meet tomorrow evening, 6:30. Exactly same time we will take. Tomorrow are 20 slides. Rubrics समझने के लिए उसमें है, notes बनाने के लिए नहीं है प्रणीता जी. Notes बनाने के लिए I will give you such a beautiful resource in any subject, any class. Go for that and find out rubric. But try to understand what is rubric and how they are made. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much and have a nice dinner and a nice sleep.
Okay. Have a good evening, everyone. Bye. So I'm ending the meeting now.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank